Alright, so it is now the summer months. As you can see, it is early summer. I haven't really done too much. I started rearranging some of my workshops. I added a new stockpile that's going to be just for raw ores, like the hematite and the tetrahedrite. Not really sure. I might just make another generic stockpile over here. The elves are still hanging out. They haven't really done anything. I really need to add more traps because I have a sneaking suspicion. Since I'm at 48 dwarves, that's high enough to where the goblins will probably start sending some ambushes. So, we really need to get on making sure we have the whole, military thing fully ready to go. This guy is still just standing there. He's still showing up as just other. So, really have no clue what's going on with that. I'm kind of hoping he'll be an early warning system, like maybe he'll be attacked, but I kind of doubt it, since he's not actually classified as a member of my civilization. Let's see, what else have I done? These 8 little areas right here, these are going to be my jail cells. And then over here is going to be my hospital. I was originally going to put my hospital right here, but I figure that that's too close to my my factory level. Although it might not be. I mean, if I put the beds all up here, and then I don't bother 2, 3, 4. See, no, that might be too close. Yeah, that's going to be too close to my factory level. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with this little alcove. I might just use this as exploratory because there's some more tetrahedrite and some things up here I could get. I'm just about ready to flood my... I could actually probably flood this right now and be okay. But I still need to pick a level lower where I'm going to put my actual well. Because I don't think my guys can drink from my fishing area. They might be able to, but let's... Nah, see, that's all stagnant water. They're not able to drink for it. Now, what I found kind of interesting is this was stagnant water, and then as you can see, I channeled out this area to where it added to the brook. And I was kind of hoping that the brook would end up, like, get this moving, and it would, turn into no longer stagnant water. But since it all mixed together, this whole area next to the brook has become stagnant, but it's still classified as a brook, so it's still moving. So that's kind of weird. But so we can't drink from any of this. So I'll probably flood this here in the next, before the next update, and then turn this spot right here into like a temporary well for drinking. Because even if the water underneath of it is stagnant, anything that gets pulled out of a well is drinkable. So I'll probably do that for the short run, just get that set up for sieges and whatnot. But then I'll eventually dig a level, or dig some pipes basically down to these lower levels, and then flood them, so that way we have a usable well on the lower levels as well. Other than that, not much else is going on. I'm going to try to keep some of these sessions a little bit shorter because my animals are acting a little frisky, so they're probably going to make quite a bit of background noise, and I'm going to have to make sure that they don't do that. So, but yeah. Other than that, like this level I decided I'm definitely going to turn into my crypts. As you can see, I'm almost done carving out my living area. The sheriff's office is done and set up. I mean, obviously it has to be since I have my sheriff. I think I showed that off in an earlier. Yeah, I think so. I have my sheriff. I still need to pick a hammer and a manager, and that should be it for nobles for now. I probably won't pick a hammer until I get the jails finished. But let's see what else. What else? I think that's it actually. Well, it for now. Once I get my military up, I'll actually live dangerously, or once I get my military fully equipped, I should say, I'll live a little dangerously, and I'll leave this door down. I'll leave this open so goblins can feel free to just mosey on in. And, well, I mean, what better way to train your military than on the job, right? So that should be interesting. But that should be it for now. So I'll see you when the season changes again, or something interesting happens. So, hilariously enough, as I was just saying, like, I pretty much just cut the last video not even a full minute ago, and we have our first ambush. Hilariously enough, this dwarf who has decided to be a hermit and just live outside and apparently hasn't starved to death or anything, actually did end up being an early warning system. But these guys are not attacking him, so let's see what's after us. We have a goblin lasher, 3 spearmen, 4 spearmen. So we have 4 goblin spearmen and a lasher, and no means to defend ourselves. Maybe they are actually. Yep, they are going to attack him. So he's dead. Did not make it. Unfortunate. So they'll probably just chill out there for a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just fill this entire corridor with stonefall traps. Hopefully I have enough mechanisms to do it, but when I'm recording and doing stuff at the same time, the game tends to run a little bit slow because my computer is pretty old. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here while I get that set up. But we don't really, I don't think we have any ammo either. Let me check. Yeah, we have no ammunition. So I'm gonna have to get someone. Well, those aren't mine. Those are the elves. So I'm gonna have to get someone started on that. We only have 6 iron breastplates. Yeah, we don't really have anything to defend ourselves. So this should be interesting. Really, the only reason why I'm going to fill this corridor with traps is so if the elves decide to leave at some point and I open it, they can rush out real quick and get their ass kicked by these guys. So yeah, let's just go ahead and set up these stonefall traps. We'll set it up in a crisscross pattern like that for now. Once we get some more mechanisms, we will fill those holes in. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it here, and then once we get those finished, or once I get my military equipped enough to actually fight these guys, I'll go ahead and bring it back and we'll see what happens. Alright, so doing some post-commentary, I totally made a huge mistake and there was a lot of background noise during this recording, so I'm going back and redoing it. Right now I'm just kind of talking about showing off all of my equipment for my dwarves, because I'm about to open the gate because the elves want to leave. So all of my guys have chest protectors and a shield at the very least, but not all of them have weapons. So it should be interesting what's going to happen. Well, I obviously know what's going to happen because this is post commentary, but you don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to spoil it. So as you can see, a lot of my chest or stonefall traps there's only 3 that aren't made. I'm also talking about right here like how I've just been making a lot of ammunition to really, because before, if you remember, I had no ammunition. But so let's see what's going on here. Oh, here I'm showing off the quality of the bolts. If you remember, I have a legendary woodworker who at the time I said wasn't going to be very useful, but turns out I was wrong because he created some pretty powerful bolts for my military to use. So you know, like, better quality bolts are definitely an advantage in combat. Excuse me. So I think at this point is when I'm actually talking about, yeah, see, I'm pointing out before how there was a maple toy boat made, and how that guy became a legendary woodcrafter. So yeah, and here I'm still trying to figure out what quality the bolts are. So as you can see, they are exceptional bolts. Let's see what else is going on. At this point, I'm trying to determine the type of equipment that the goblins are having, and I believe it is. It takes me a second to remember the keys, but it ends up being iron equipment. So I'm a little skeptical at this point whether or not that these wooden bolts are going to do anything against the iron, because since I had no ammunition, my Marks Dwarfs have not been training. So they're just whatever skills they had when I put them in that squad. That's all they have. They are not any better or worse. Well, they might be worse because they haven't been training, so they might be rusty. But I never really checked that. So at this point, I'm strategizing. I'm gonna open the gate and give the elves a point to run out, and try to lure the goblins a little bit closer to a killing trap. At this point, I'm trying to increase my burrow, because what I was going to do was turn the military alert on and have it to where only my military was active. But something odd happens, and I end up not being able to do it. It'll show it here in a second, but yeah, here I'm talking about all my stonefall traps. It's kind of weird doing postcom, because I have the original audio going, so I kind of know what I'm talking about at the same time. But it's kind of weird, like knowing exactly how much time I have to talk about what's happening and trying not to rush it, because I know exactly what's going to happen. But yeah, so at this point I'm talking about what's happening. So I'm obviously going to position my Marks Dwarves on top of the entryway. None of the goblins have any ranged equipment at all, so they're not going to be able to hit them. So the plan is to get the goblins as close as possible without them being able to actually get inside. Yeah, okay, so here I'm turning on the alert. And as you can see, I have the military active and the burrow active at the same time. But when I come back, my military abandons their post and starts to run down to the burrow. Which doesn't really make any sense, because as I remember in the older versions, the military operated independently of the burrow alerts, or at least you can make them operate independently. I mean, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, or maybe, you know, it was something. Maybe that's the way. Maybe this is the way it's supposed to work. I don't necessarily know. But it was kind of odd. I mean, it does end up working out, because the only reason why I turned it on was so no civilians would run outside, and, you know, just get stabbed by one of them spear goblins. So here I'm turning the alert back to inactive, so that the burrow turns off. Let's see what else is going on. The elves still haven't left. They're still just slowly packing up all their gear. They're just gonna chill there. So yeah. So at this point, I end up calling the Marks Dwarves back up to the top, and then I just kind of have my melee squad kind of hang back out of sight, so they don't go into a berserker rush as soon as the goblins come into sight. And something I kind of want to talk about while we're waiting is the reason why I like to use stone traps is because they're quick and dirty. You can set them up as soon as you have mechanisms. They use stone, but they're also relatively effective against humanoid targets, because what they will do is, I mean, it's basically a giant boulder falling on them, and if it manages to hit them, like if they don't dodge, because sometimes they'll dodge, but I mean, if it manages to hit them, more often than not, it's going to knock them unconscious, and that makes them an easy target. So as the goblins come into range here, my Marked Dwarves are going to start opening fire. They don't appear to be doing anything at first. And then, yeah, so here we go. So this guy's in the tunnel, and he gets hit by a stonefall trap. And I think it should show up, like you should be able to see an X, like a white X on him, and that indicates that he's been knocked unconscious. At this point, I decide that my Marked Dwarves are being pretty ineffective, and I don't think I can take these goblins, so I decide to shut the door. Two of them do manage to get inside, but the other three are locked out. So the two that are inside, one of them gets hit on, like one of them ends up being unconscious, and the other one ends up being really sick and in extreme pain because he actually gets hit pretty badly with one of the boulders. In a second here, I'm actually going to check to see how bad, and you'll see there. Yeah, see here is like all the indicate. I mean, like the worst he has is a broken rib, but everything else is bruised. But he is unconscious, or she, I should say. It says right there, she is average in size. The video is actually lagging behind what I'm actually like. Yeah, so this is the one that's in extreme pain because his entire right arm is broken, and yeah, so they're pretty much going to be ineffective. In a second here, I'm going to send in my my melee squad to take him out. The other three just kind of I never checked to see what that blue X means. So, at this point, I'm not really afraid at all because these two are pretty much incapacitated. So I just send in my melee. I mean, if one of the dwarves does get killed, then it's by pure luck, basically. Because I mean, they have no head protection, and like the two things you want to get armored faster than anything else is the chest and the head, because those are the two spots where they can get instant kills. So I don't know what happens to that first one. I think he might actually get crushed to death. I never actually checked to see what he dies of, or she dies of. And then the other one just gets beaten to death. It's pretty awesome. So then one of the goblins decides that he doesn't want any part of this. He buggers out. See him, he's running. The other two, suffice to say, they don't make it because, as you can see, they're one of them's unconscious. Like I said, I don't know what that blue X means, but my mark stores are just hammering away with those excellent quality bolts. I've been talking too long. I'm already at the point where so the background noise should have stopped by now. I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here. Okay, so I think one goblin got away. Yeah, one got away, but these two spearmen. Let us see. I don't know how those elves think they're gonna get out. So we're gonna pull this lever because these guys are pretty banged up from the arrows. So we're gonna send our other squad out to finish off these guys. I don't know where them elves went. Oh, they're still in there. So they should be able to finish these guys off, because that one's unconscious and that one is pretty badly hurt. Hopefully we'll be able to do this with no casualties. Yep, no casualties. Awesome. So we will just cancel out of these orders. I don't know where these guys think they're going. On break? No. Get back inside. We were also going to claim... Oh, we'll wait for the elves to get out there first. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and claim all of this stuff. All that goblin gear is mine. Mine, I say. So yeah, so managed to fight off successfully my first ambush. Pretty exciting. Let's go ahead and jump back down here and have this guy stop making bolts, because we're going to exhaust our entire wood supply before that happens. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. They should also dump those bodies. That has a lot of bolts on the floor. So we'll just steal all this equipment, manage to actually outfit my dwarves with some more stuff, because I think these guys had some helms and some other things like that. But yeah, so pretty successful defense. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here and see what happens.